And welcome to Harrison's Reality Check. Carrie Harrison with you. It is now time for our fact injection, something we tee off the show with. It is, of course, with none other than investigative reporter Greg Palast. You've seen him on Democracy Now! You've read his book, The Best Democracy Money Can Buy. Here now is investigative reporter Greg Palast with the fact injection. The topic today is the strange case, you're going to love this, Chevron Oil versus Steve Donziger. What, Greg, is that all about?
Well, you have to go back with me in a canoe up an Amazon River tributary deep into the Ecuador Amazon rainforest, where I met for BBC television with Chief Emergildo Criollo of the Cofan indigenous tribe. Now, Criollo told me that his 3-year-old son had gone swimming in a little pool of water that had shine on it, came up vomiting blood and died in his arms. His older son, right after that, died of leukemia. What was going on? Chevron's Texaco unit was dumping oil sludge from its drilling into the waters of the Amazon around the Cofan indigenous villages. So I went with Criollo, the chief, he filed a lawsuit in the middle of the jungle in this courthouse. Now, you have to understand, they were laughing at him because this he's naked from the waist up. He's wearing feathers, and some, guy looks like he's out of a jungle film from the 50s, and he's filing a $9.5 billion lawsuit against Chevron Oil for the deaths of his sons. Now, here, are you ready? In 2011, he won $1.5 billion. He won the case. And his secret weapon was a guy named Steve Donziger, a U.S. lawyer who went to Harvard Law School with Barack Obama, but instead of going to cash in, he has spent his life working for free Cofan indigenous people and the other natives of the Amazon. Now, Chevron didn't pay. They moved all their assets out of Ecuador. They claimed the case was fixed.
Well, it sounds like they fixed it themselves. We're talking to Greg Palast. This is your fact injection. We do this weekly to tee off the show. We're talking about the strange case of Chevron Oil versus Steve Donziger. And the question is obvious. Was Chevron actually guilty? There was a $9.5 billion judgment, but was Chevron guilty?
Well, the court records were really voluminous and clear. They had all the experts from all the university medical centers. In my own investigation, when I'd stick in those ponds and pull up oil sludge, and I saw the people with pustules all over their arms, poisoning. And I found a document myself from the president of Chevron Texaco, who literally ordered his people to remove all documents involving sludge and destroy them. His word, destroy them. In the U.S., by the way, that's called obstruction of justice. So what did Chevron do? They went after the Cofan's lawyer, Steve Donziger, in a U.S. courtroom. They found a right-wing judge. They went around judge shopping, and this judge found Donziger, believe it or not Chevron, but Donziger in contempt of court, which, by the way, Carrie, is normally no big deal. You pay a few bucks fine. But instead, this judge charged Donziger millions of dollars in legal fees, bankrupting him. And then, ready for this? The judge charged him with criminal contempt to throw him in prison. Now, I have to say that the Trump administration, even the Trump Justice Department, laughed this off and said, you can't stick a lawyer in jail because, you didn't like it.
He's being a lawyer.
He wouldn't turn over his iPhone. He wouldn't turn over his iPhone, which had the numbers of people. This is dangerous in Latin America. You can't give away your witnesses. So now you're ready for this. The Trump Justice Department said this is BS. But the judge told Chevron Oil to act as the prosecutor in this contempt trial. It's the first time in U.S. history a private corporation prosecuting a U.S. citizen. In fact, the guy that they're opposing, a private corporation. Now, look, no jury was going to convict him. So the judge said there's no jury trial. I know that if you go to, I know you've probably read the Constitution. Maybe
my ancestors helped write it, as a matter of fact.
And I also did the Chevron prosecution. Yes.
I also have contempt for that particular court.
So
it's easy to have.
It's you're supposed to have a jury trial anyway, but they didn't. The judge found him guilty. And now, here's what I'm concerned with. On October 1st, this judge is going to sentence Donziger to prison. He could get 6 months. And on top of it, Donziger's already served 2 years of time under house arrest. He's been wearing one of those ankle bracelets in his home like he's a mafia don. This has never happened in American history. And so I want to just tell people, here's what you can, everyone's going to say, well, what can I do? I'm going to tell you what you can do. Number one, you get a hold of the U.S. Justice Department, our so-called Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and tell Mr. Garland, no more corporate prosecutions. And needless to say, get that ankle bracelet off, Steve. You don't put a lawyer in jail, a human rights lawyer spent his life to defend these others. Make Chevron pay, and no more corporate prosecutions. And if you want more information about this case and what's happening to Steve Donziger, go to freedonziger.com or watch my actual report from the rainforest or BBC at gregpalace.com.
And there's your fact injection, excuse me, as I gurgle up my own oil from just hearing this story. There's your fact injection with Greg Palast. Thank you so much.